Namaste, Hari Om, Namo Narayan, everybody. Hello and welcome to anybody that's watching or is going to watch this program or live stream. My name is Swami Manamurti, and tonight I'm going to be talking about the Kundalini Research Project and the, well, hopefully resurrection of interest in the Kundalini Research Project. So behind me, this is actually says their official launch of the Astro Science Vedic International Conference, which was held at the Mahakumbh Mela, February 2013, and Kundalini Research Project Foundation, KRPF, right? So this talks about the Kundalini Research Project. So initially we founded the Kundalini Research Project Foundation state in Andhra Pradesh state in India, and I think that was about 2012, the beginning of 2012. Later on, at the end of 2012, we decided that we needed a nationwide registration, so we registered a trust, Kundalini Research Project. We dropped the foundation and we registered a trust, and it was called the KRP, or Kundalini Research Project Trust in Delhi. So this was the official launch on 16th of June at the India International Centre, which was the organisation, I think, founded and run by Dr. Karan Singh, who was the original global chairman of the Kundalini Research Project, going back from early 70s. So this 2012 launch was a launch, again, trying to get people involved or enthused in the Kundalini Research Project, which was originally conceptualized by Gopi Krishna back in 1970. And Dr. Karan Singh and a few of his friends, Gene Kiefer and a few others, I'll name them all later, that they tried their hardest, and nothing really happened for a number of reasons, obviously. So myself and another group of people, we tried our hardest from the 2012 till 2014, 15, sort of died out. The interest died out in around 2015. Of course, the reality is funding, because this is a big project, and that's the bottom line with research projects, is funding. So we're going to talk about that tonight and a lot of other things. And so that's just a little bit of an overview about the Kundalini Research Project history, but we'll be going right over it tonight. And we'll get into a lot of other things and share a number of documents. I'm going to read a few documents, and I hope it don't bore you too much, but it has to sort of come out. I haven't spoken about, like, I was the chairman of the Kundalini Research Project back in 2012. Like, you might say the original president of the Kundalini Research Project, the global project, Dr. Karan Singh was the global chairman. Gene Kiefer was the president. And Gene's, back in about 2011, Gene sort of handed me the baton, you might say. You've seen a relay race where they race around at the Olympics, the relay race, and they hand the baton. So Gene sort of motivated me to put my hand up, and we got things happening, and for a number of years, and then it gradually faded out. But I corresponded with Gene a number of times, and I've got some good insights into the project and how difficult it is. The budget, how expensive it is, what it would do, and you know it was a really interesting time. But I might say before we get started tonight, um, Kundalini, right? Just for myself, the very first time I heard the word Kundalini was I was 19 years old. I was a surfer actually, and when I was one night down in Narra, where I used to live down the south coast, one Friday night, there was a knock on the door. Open it up, and it's my best friend Steve Horan, Shane Horan, who's a world famous surfer. His elder brother Steve, and two surfing photographers. One was Martin Tullemans. Uh, he's a very well known. Oh, he's passed away now, but he was one of the greatest Australian surfing photographers. And the filmmaker who was with Martin was Steve Otten, and we were filming a surfing movie, which myself and Steve were actually in. And Martin stayed at my place that weekend, and he must have been into Kundalini because he started talking about Kundalini. I mean, I was only 19. There's actually a photo of me when I was a young surfer. There, that's when I was 19, and we were in this surfing movie that these guys were making. That was great. Anyway, Martin was definitely, he was pure like vegetarian or vegan, and he was right into, he was cooking in my kitchen. I don't know what he was into, macrobiotics and really healthy food. And I'm not sure how old Martin was. He was, mid-20s at that time, or maybe a little bit older. And well, we weren't into anything healthy. So, but he started talking about this word Kundalini, and it just sat in my mind like, what is this that he's talking about? We didn't have a clue. But anyway, I thought I'd tell that story. Martin was a surfing uh, photographer, famous surfing photographer. So, there's a lot of surfers you'll find, because they have a close affinity with Mother Nature. So you'll find they've got a very open mind. So I was one of them. I had an open mind, and obviously I got into yoga. So I've spoken about all my history. Who influenced me, and I went right through the whole surfing scene, and the yoga scene. So we're going to get into a few documents now. So what I'd like to bring up first is this document here. Right, now this document is the original document, empirical research into the phenomena of Kundalini. Right, so I was handed this document, this little booklet, back in 1994 when I first heard of it, when Swami Naranjan was over, my sannyasa guru, big guru in India, Bihar School of Yoga guru. And when he was visiting Australia with Mr. George Tompkins, who I met, both were given satsangs, and we were handed out some pamphlets, flyers about this Kundalini research project. So I've talked about all this before, but here's the actual document right, that I was handed, empirical research into the phenomena of Kundalini. So this is actually by the um, the organisation set up by Dr. Karan Singh, who's a famous Indian statesman. Right. So I'm going to start reading through a few things here. So this is very important. So a lot of people aren't talking about Kundalini these days, and they sort of talk more about consciousness and things like that. But Kundalini's been around for hundreds and thousands of years, and it's in all the ancient texts. So we really want to get back to talking about Kundalini. Okay, so what is Kundalini? Kundalini, in her individual form, is a dormant divine power lying coiled 3.5 times around herself, located at the base of the spine, with her roots deep within our biological structure. Its name finds an important place in practically all the Shastras. In the Tantras and the Shakti Shastras, Kundalini is invariably designated as a goddess, or the creative power of the Absolute. In her cosmic aspect, Kundalini is beyond name, form, and our understanding. In dealing with Kundalini, we deal with an element of creation which is beyond the reach of the intellect. The creator and his creative energy are one, as fire and its heat are not two separate entities, but one, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Both in her individual and cosmic form, she is creatrix of all that exists and the guardian of human evolution. So this is the original Kundalini hypothesis. Within the framework of remarkably similar characteristics, the mystic, the genius, and apparently even some mentally affected persons also exhibit extraordinary states of consciousness. We propose to investigate whether one psychophysiological process, Kundalini, is responsible for these phenomena. So the aims and objectives. So I'll read through these, but I'll go through the protocol that our organisation put together, Sabrata, and I've amended it tonight. So for this talk, so aims and objectives. Research has been proposed to investigate the hypothesis that there is specific psychophysiological mechanism referred to as Kundalini in esoteric scriptures in human beings. The Kundalini hypothesis suggests that human evolution has proceeded by the action of this mechanism in human body and brain. Traditionally, Kundalini is held to be responsible for creativity, inspiration, genius, mystical experience, psychic phenomena, and in its morbid form, certain classes of mental illnesses. The proposed research would be involved with the collection, analysis, and documentation of both psychological and biological data relative to the common characteristics which appear to be the result of an awakened Kundalini. We believe that those objectives can be accomplished via 3 avenues of investigation. So we've got there literary works. Okay, to undertake, organise and acquire statistical data worldwide from persons experiencing the symptoms of a Kundalini awakening in association with Kundalini research networks worldwide. 2, to undertake scientific research of the Kundalini hypothesis through a successful awakening in selected subjects within the directed experimental environment known as the Kundalini Research Project. To organise, either as a group or individually, a team of qualified scientists in all aspects of neurosciences, biology, and genetics, together with psychiatrists and psychologists for this purpose. This activity to take place in India, hopefully, If not India, it would be somewhere, another country. On property either leased or donated, equipped with buildings to house the Kundalini Research Project. To undertake the enlistment of an elite scientific advisory board for the purpose of establishing research criteria, selection of scientists, validation of research methods and scientific models covering all scientific aspects of this research. The Kundalini Research Association International Indian chapter. So we've got Dr. Karen Singh, Chairman, Governing Body, Worldwide Chairman. The Kundalini Research Association, Zurich, Switzerland. Other eminent persons, Justice Mr. Shiv Dayal, Mr. Jean Kiefer, Miss Margaret Cobalt. Other eminent scientists and doctors, Dr. B. Ramamurthy, Dr. W. Selvamurthy, Dr. P.N. Tandon, Dr. R.M. Verma, Dr. S.V. Rao, Dr. Nagarathna, Mr. George Tompkins, who sadly passed away. There could be a number of people that have passed away that are reading out their names. I'm sorry if I don't know the others that might have passed away earlier, because you've got to remember this is 30 years ago. So, you know, like I'm 67, I was 37 then. So these people might be older than me and they could have passed away, as I know some of them have. All right. Mr. B.B. Jain, supporting members, Dr. D.P. Mandela, Mr. Jagdish Chanda Shivpuri, that's the eldest son of the late Pandit Gopi Krishna. Scientific Advisory Board, Swami Naranjan Saraswati, Swamiji, my guru, my sannyas guru, Bihar School of Yoga. Dr. B. Ramamurthy, Dr. W. Selvamurthy, Dr. P.N. Tandon, who I mentioned before, Dr. R.M. Verma, Dr. S.V. Rao, Dr. K.N. Sridhar, Dr. Bimal K. Charger, Dr. H.R. Nagendra, Dr. R. Nagarathna, Dr. Shirley Telles, Dr. Naresh Kumar Brahmachari, Dr. R.D. Lilly, Dr. Pandav Pandya, and Dr. G. Padma Naban. So they're the people on the original document going back to 1994. So this is about research into the phenomena of Kundalini, part 1, evolution. So this is the theory of evolution. So I won't go right into all this. The prize of life, part 2, the Kundalini Research Project. I'll read this. This is well written. Scientific research is currently being organised to prove the Kundalini hypothesis. Kundalini is responsible for mystical experience, genius, all extraordinary talents, psychic abilities, and its morbid state, certain cases of mental illness. 150 candidates selected from a wide variety of cultures and countries will spend 5 years in one environment in India, hopefully, for the purpose of participating in disciplines designed to awaken Kundalini. These subjects will be monitored by a team of scientists using the most advanced scientific instruments and procedures as a continuous record of the biological, psychological, and mental enhancements which occur upon the awakening of this divine energy. The goal to demonstrate in a few of these subjects a transformation into the next level of evolution. That's important. The next level of evolution. That is, from human to transhuman consciousness. The solemn task in front of us is to provide empirical evidence for the basic reality of illumination. Currently, it is impossible to scientifically validate the transcendental states of consciousness. We will begin building a database of those candidates who claim such states and compare characteristics and experiences with the descriptions of the ancient and contemporary masters to prove the commonality of the experience. We will document the extraordinary mental transformations which occur in the process of reaching states of transcendence. The goal is to empirically demonstrate genius can be cultivated once the Kundalini is fully awakened. Science currently takes a position. The development of enhanced and intellectual powers and genius is what in one is not endowed with them from birth. If not endowed with them from birth, is impossible because of the hereditary factors involved depending on the nature of the genes. It is sufficient to say that it is exactly at this aspect of the Kundalini project that the possibility of the objective demonstration lies in the most dramatic form. Once validated, this discovery in human potential will be a milestone in the history of science and will result in changing its current concept of mind and matter. All right, paradigm change. India has produced a host of saints, seers, and sages who were living examples of this metamorphosis as advanced species of the evolutionary process. Many of these enlightened beings were uneducated, yet were the recipients of new knowledge and creative talents in a wide variety of subjects ranging from languages, art, music, history, science, etc., as an endowment of enhanced mental capacities via modes of cognition not yet recognized by modern science. This research is therefore dedicated to these lofty spiritual and mental giants who represent the spiritual heritage of India as the soul of the Kundalini project. One's evolution towards higher dimensions of consciousness is scientifically validated. The people of India will awaken to the great glory of their land, and science will awaken to recognize the divine responsibilities in man. We will then truly validate the high purpose of all these great avatars, prophets, and saints as recognition of their common divinity in everyone was their primary message. They also came to teach us how to live by revealing the codes of conduct required to harmonize with this inner process of evolution leading to knowledge of self. With the discovery of spiritual law, science is to act as a unifying principle between all faiths of mankind and to bring together for the common goal of spiritual awareness, spirituality. Spirituality will be the future science, and science its instrument to bring the goal of evolution within easy reach of every human being. The Kundalini project is a pioneering entry into this new science. So I've said it many times before, the KRP is futuristic and it's paradigm changing. So that's what I wanted to read out of that document. So that's the the original 1994 CRAI document, K-R-A-I doc, Kundalini. So before I get right into it, so this is actually an actual open letter I wrote to the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, on Guru Purnima. See that there? Guru Purnima, 13th of July, 2 years ago. So it was actually up online for 2 years in the KRP group, Facebook group, Kundalini Research Project group, which has got 10,000 members. And, you know, over 3/4 of those members are Indian. So I pleaded with them, you know, if they know any political leaders, to get this message to Narendra Modi, if possible, the PM, Narendra Modi. So I'm going to read through some of it, although it was up there as a text. I'll read it, so it's there. So in this, dear PM, dear Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, I would like to draw your attention to a very noble cause that was started by one of your own countrymen now 50 years ago, and has been trying to gain traction and manifest itself ever since 1970 with no success. That noble Indian countryman that I am referring to was the enlightened yogi Pandit Gopi Krishna from Srinagar in Kashmir, and his legacy is the Kundalini Research Project that he called for throughout his entire life until his last breath. Numerous of his close friends, spiritual colleagues and well-wishers or supporters, including me, have kept alive his call for this noble spiritual and scientific project. In 1974, it nearly materialized in India when Pandit Gopi Krishna's great friend, Indian statesman Dr. Karan Singh, who at the time was the Minister for Health and Family Planning under the Indira Gandhi government, but it was to no avail. Here is some important information on this that I found on the internet. At the International Congress of Physiological Sciences, held in late 1974 at New Delhi, India's Minister for Health and Family Planning, Dr. Karan Singh, announced that the Indian government would conduct a long-range study of Kundalini Yoga to seek scientific corroboration for what tradition has maintained for centuries. So we all know that that didn't happen. So obviously this is why I'm writing to asking for bipartisan support in a political party, because political parties change hands. So later on in 1994, when one of my gurus, Swami Niranjananda Saraswati from the BS School of Yoga, was in Australia, I first heard from Swamiji of this noble cause and became very interested in becoming an actual participant in the Kundalini Research Project, as I was much younger then, 37 years of age. So now I'm 67, so that's 30 years ago. For the next couple of years, I corresponded with the important people in India who were trying to get this noble spiritual project off the ground, but it was soon almost forgotten. Much later, in 2011, myself and a few spiritual friends, mainly from India, started discussing, not all from India, but mainly from India, started discussing resurrecting this noble project on the social media platform Facebook. The support lasted a couple or a few years, then it died off around 2015 or sometime in 15, when people realized how difficult it would be to actualize this paradigm-changing spiritual and scientific project and the amount of money that it would require. So I spoke to Gene Kiefer, or we chatted, Gene and I, and Gene was telling me back in those days when I was chatting with Gene was about 2011 or 12, and Gene was saying to do this project because you got to remember it's 150 people to house 150 people for a 5-year project. So he was saying like the budget for this project to do it was around $20 million in India. That was to do the project in India. And he felt to do that in either Australia or America, because they're probably a bit more stable than India, because the possibility of protests and stuff, and having a nice peaceful environment for the participants without any drama for 5 years. You need a pretty mellow sort of place without too much internal drama. So Gene told me the amount, and so that's what I'm sharing on this video. So I'm going to continue with my letter here. It's an open letter that I had on the internet, right, for Narendra Modi. I feel that this project, if it ever had a chance to actualise, it would be under your leadership and the BJP government. And although I cannot foresee the future, I feel that the only chance that the Kundalini Research Project has is with your political support and will, as India's diverse population is greatly comprised of a majority of people, Hindu, 827 million. Now, many of them are young. So I'm talking to the youth of India, right? So 50% of India's population is 25 and under. So mainly I'm talking to the youth of the nation who are easily distracted away from spirituality, which is a shame, right? Because everyone's finding it difficult, they're looking for jobs, careers, and things like that with a huge population. So I'll continue. As India's diverse population is greatly comprised of a majority of people, 827 million Hindus, religious followers and supporters of Sanatan Dharma, I feel that it is now or never for this project. So this is why I am writing to you in an attempt to gain your support. Not only do I think that your BJP constituents and voters would support such a noble spiritual project, but the real great rishis of India's past would support such a scientific and spiritual endeavour. Honourable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I would like to present a summary or an outline containing the scope of this project, proposed scientific and spiritual project, which one of my good friends from India has kindly put together for the proposed Kundalini Research Project. Below is a summary of what the Kundalini Research Project, known as the KRP, wishes to study in depth during the proposed 5-year project. So I'll actually, before I go on, I'm going to discuss why it was named the Kundalini Research Project. I'm changing the name to Babaji's Kundalini Research Project because over the years since I've been involved with it, Babaji has been prompting me, talking to me and guiding me, which I've made numerous videos about. And Babaji's told me a number of times about talking about this project and how the participants of this project that perfect Kriya Yoga will experience the non-duality of that Adi Shankaracharya experienced. And also Babaji has said that the final 2 years of this project, the first 3 years, I'll be going through all the sadhanas, practices, the techniques, but the last 2 years, Babaji's told me, will be purely astral teaching. And also there's been other spirits that have contacted me, entities from, not from this dimension, higher beings have contacted me showing interest in the Kundalini Research Project, and they have talked to me and showed interest in the Kundalini Research Project, which I thought was totally amazing. And, Babaji is an ascended master, and these entities, or this entity that was speaking to me was the seventh dimensional. I've been told through a channel that it was a seventh dimensional being, like an alien or extraterrestrial being, talking to me about the Kundalini Research Project. So here we are talking about the project. So here are the steps. This is the protocol. Physiological sensations and changes during Kundalini awakening. There are a number of ways in which Kundalini can be awakened. While some of them start with active pranayama, a special breathing technique, others start with transcendental meditations, which initiate pranayama by themselves from the inside. However, this process has a deep-rooted impact on the human body. Pranayama is actively used in the treatment of various kinds of physical diseases and mental disorders. On the other hand, pranayama itself makes some physiological sensations and changes in our body. All the unusual physical experiences due to the subtle energy are planned to be scientifically exposed by the bioelectromagnetic devices with possible explanations. The outcome of this research can be further strengthened the concepts and applications of energy medicine. So you see a lot of people talk about energy medicine these days, right? Detection and analysis. Number 2, detection and analysis of the bioelectromagnetic field generated from the heart, neural, and tissue cells. Human body is mostly controlled by the electric signals from the cells. A small but effective enough current signals are produced to regulate all the cellular activities. Flow of current or electron makes some electromagnetic field. By measuring them, one can find the details of the internal mechanism. Heart, brain, and tissue cells can generate more than the minimum measurable amounts of current that our devices can detect. With these devices, we can find the neurophysiological bioelectromagnetism, cardiological bioelectromagnetism, and bioelectromagnetism generated by other organs and tissues. Modern tomographic scans might prove to be very useful for the detection of chakras and Kundalini energy movement through the spinal cord. It's very important, spinal cord. That's where Kundalini travels. The detection and analysis of sudden energy surges felt by the Kundalini yoga practitioner can add some other clues about the mysterious behavior of the Kundalini. So I should mention too that this protocol was written by my good friend, who's a physicist, physicist, Dr. Subrata Kaviraj. So, and he's a Kriya yogi as well, and devotee Babaji. So here we go here, number 3. Number 3, biochemical, biomolecular studies of the blood, hormones, receptors, and especially nucleic acids, the genetic study in the body during Kundalini yoga. Each and every chakra is related with the individual endocrine glands, so the activation of the chakras inevitably changes related hormone secretions in the bloodstream, other bodily fluids, and extracellular spaces. Neurotransmitter receptors are also the major signaling molecules that control all biochemical and bioelectrical mechanisms of our body. Finally, the ultimate seed of the body, the DNA, should be thoroughly studied. Each and every DNA Each and every DNA should be thoroughly studied inside the host cells of the body, carries all the information of the person, and also can generate it when required. This is like a broken mirror, whose every fragment shows the same reflection. The holographic nature of DNA may reveal a lot of interesting secrets of Kundalini and super consciousness. Number 4, quantum mechanical, neuroscientific, and parapsychological study of consciousness. To understand the consciousness is the hottest topic of research nowadays. Consciousness cannot be comprehended within the domain of classical concepts. Quantum mechanically, we now can try to analyze consciousness as non-local dynamic entity. The neurophysiological and neuropsychological approach of consciousness may open new horizons. Mind-body medicine or quantum medicine can prove to become the most efficient way of treatment by consciously using the psychosomatically entangled system. Number 5, study of PSI, energy, life field, bioplasmic body, the secret of prana. The concept of the bioplasmic body or biofield was very prevalent in all the ancient civilizations. The mystic or Kundalini activated persons had claimed to be seen. However, scientific efforts had made a breakthrough by watching this through Kirlian photography. The difference of aura between living and dead organs becomes clear with the GDV camera, an upgraded device of Kirlian photography by Dr. Korotkov. Measurements of Kundalini energy can now become easier with the AMI device. Still further advancement is required to make these devices more and more sensible. I feel that this project would also gain bipartisan political support in India now. So I'm writing this before the election 2 years ago because I knew the election was coming in 2 years. And as politics is a changing and dynamic landscape, this could be a win-win for India, not only domestically but internationally too. Not only would your leadership give to the world a UN-endorsed annual World Yoga Day, as you have already done, but give to the world the real knowledge that individuals and society needs about Kundalini and its real evolutionary hidden potential. I love your country and its people and culture, and I believe in helping India bring about this divine mandate left by Pandit Gopi Krishna. Political potential benefits is 2 years until your next general election. And if the Kundalini Research Project was on your agenda, I feel that it would make the difference in domestically. So there's 2 examples, domestically and internationally. Domestically, gaining more support from your Hindu supporters and gaining support from non-Hindus who would transparently see that you are not only interested in the Hindu religion, but real spiritual science in general and the well-being of all. Gaining support of people who believe in science and the scientific research into the Kundalini phenomena and consciousness. Internationally, India will gain its rightful status as guru of the world, a world which is in dire need of direction into the future. So that's pretty evident right now. Just have a look at the world, how it's going. India would gain worldwide support from proud expats, Indian expats living abroad. India would show to the world how scientific and spiritual is this technology that we call yoga. See? Yoga science, yogic science. I can be contacted if you wish to contact me via email or Zoom. Email address monamurti@gmail.com. Kind regards. Om and Prem, Swami Monamurti Saraswati, David G. Little, Australia. So I'm not going to go right into all this, but if anyone wants it, they can email it to me. This is a great article, actually, by Gopi Krishna. How Kundalini research could save the world. Oh, well, the world's a bit of a mess at the moment. So we're pretty close to something big, closer than we've been for 70 years or more, 80 years since World War II. Someone could read this, it'd be good. So I've made an amendment here, so I'm just trying to find this amendment. So I might have to finish this. I wasn't going to read all this out. So there's the letter I received, was handed with about 500 others during a satsang with Swami Niranjan. Just down the bottom here. Whatever contribution you can make to this project will go a long way in fulfilling the vision of India to give to the world an awakened person, right? So Kundalini is in everyone. So out of 150, I hope to produce a couple of fully enlightened beings. Oh, this is a letter to me from Dr. Karan Singh, the chairman, May 1996. So I wrote to George Tompkins, and Dr. Karan Singh wrote back to me. And I've had a couple of emails from Dr. Karan Singh, and hopefully I can meet Dr. Karan Singh. That would be great. And I'll be coming to India next year, but I actually have been invited by his secretary to come and meet him, Dr. Karan Singh. So what's this? A letter from Bihar School of Yoga. Says, we are sure that sometime in the future Swami Niranjan will be able to contribute to this endeavour. Okay, Kundalini Research Project. So we'll keep your word on that, Swami Niranjan. So sometime at some stage, or BSY, whoever this Swami is, I can't read the handwriting. The Swami has said that sure that sometime in the future Swami Niranjan will be able to contribute to the endeavour. So George Tompkins, I met George Tompkins there at the ashram, headquarters of Sachinanda Yoga in Australia, and Swami Niranjan was saying at that satsang, so I've got a pretty good memory. That's one thing yoga gives you, is a great memory, and really sharpens up the DNA as well. But the memory, I remember Swami Niranjan saying at that satsang that George Tompkins, Swamiji took George Tompkins to meet Swami Sachinanda Paramahansaji, my guru. I think it's in 93. So he came out with Swami Niranjan in 94, George Tompkins. But the Swami Niranjan said that he offered up his ashram to be a school of yoga, ashram, to George Tompkins to do the project there at Mungir ashram. But George said that the weather wasn't very favourable for the participants, so it gets hot there. Like I've been there in '88 where it was close to 50 degrees, so I can understand what George Tompkins said, why he said that, because if you're doing a lot of pranayama, you want a cool climate, not a hot climate. So it gets really hot. So I was there in April, May, and it was, 45, 50 every day. But it gets hot in the middle of India anytime. So, like I've been at that launch there that day when that launch was on, the official launch. It was 48 degrees. I mean, that heat, I've never experienced that. That's so dry, it just takes your breath away. So it gets really hot. So a cool climate for this project is ideal, but uh, finding a location, that's something we'll have to talk about. So this is another letter. Where's this one? 2012. Oh, that was just responding to my invitation to Swami Naranjan, or to send some Swamis or Swamiji to come himself to the official launch. Obviously, no one came. Well, actually, there was one Swami there from BSY. So this is the original KRP banner, and the website's no more. It's disappeared, come down. So I've still got a backup of the site if we ever need to resurrect it. So there's the banner there up on the stage. Bina there, Dr. Bina Sharma, PhD, Dr. Ram Naresh, Tripathology, rest in peace. Dr. Tripathology isn't with us anymore. He's watching from above, I'm sure. It's myself, and next to me is Aaron Sinner, who's also passed away. Aaron was a good friend and he's sadly missed. So Aaron really helped a lot. He was really the backbone of the KRP. And he was from Hyderabad down South India in Andhra Pradesh. So we've got Mr. Aaron Sinner, myself, Dr. Ram Naresh Tripathology, Dr. Bina Sharma, PhD, India International Centre, 16th of June 2012. So I've gone through what's important to say there, so I'll just take that off. But I hope that this message does get through. Narendra Modi ji. Okay, so I'm taking that. So I've been through those first couple of documents. So before I get going in these Barbara White documents, I'm going to go have a little bit here. I've got a couple of little concepts I want to show as well. So this is just an email I sent myself. So I wanted to show something here. See, I'm going to talk about something, dream telepathy. So I had this dream myself a few weeks ago, and I wrote about it on Facebook. Introduce dream telepathy. So in the guru-disciple relationship, so for instance, my guru, Swami Satchinanda, he was a transmission guru. He could transmit, right? And he actually did some experiments because he's very scientifically minded. He did some experiments in telepathy with his disciples. And so I want to just say that Swamiji, I think Swamiji said to George Tompkins when he went out to see him out at Rikia, that when you've had Kundalini awake in you for a number of years, you can direct it. So that's like an astral Shaktipat. So you can direct it. So the guru knows how to do it. So that's what I've written here. A state of spiritual transmission from the mind from the mind of the transmitter, the transmission guru, to the receiver, the disciple. Transmission from the astral body direct to the astral body of the disciple. So from the astral, or the enlightened body of the guru, the message comes into the disciple, who's connecting on a number of levels with their guru, as often as they can. So I wanted to show a concept which I actually saw in a dream. So a lot of my concepts come in dreams. I see it visually. So if I think about something, even if I don't think of stuff, it just comes visually, and it's Kundalini just shines this stuff on me, and I see it. So I wanted to show you something. I've showed it in Facebook before. So this is actually a corkscrew, right? So corkscrew for opening a bottle with a cork. So you'll see that the spiral, right? So the spiral. So the corkscrew, and this spiral is anti-clockwise, right? It's anti-clockwise spiral, right? So it comes up, right, and you screw in. So I've got two corkscrews. So from the top, it's a clockwise spiral. So the clockwise spiral comes down, it locks in to the spiral. I just wanted to show you that in front of the camera. So it's locked in, right? So this is just a concept, but I want to show you. Right, here it is unwinding. Right. So this coming down in a clockwise direction, and this coming up in an anti-clockwise. So I'm using this as an analogy for ascension. So I'm telling you that one of the Kriya yoga techniques that Babaji's initiated me into, called Awakening of the Letters, it's a Kriya where we're working in an anti-clockwise spiral. So obviously some of the Kriya yogis, maybe some of the. So this is a higher Kriya from Babaji's Kriyas, and Lahiri Masay's Kriya. So Shai Binder know what I'm talking about, and some of the other Kriya yogis that might be watching the spiral. So you're actually opening up the portal, ascending up into the light, and at the same time, the divinity is descending down into you. So as you're ascending up, the divinity is descending into you. So I've got some more here to read out on this. When we raise our frequency, spirits and advanced beings can communicate with us in many ways. Okay, so I'm going to actually show transmission goes instantly if the disciple and the guru are on the same frequency, but it is delayed if not on the same frequency or line of evolution. It may be delayed a long time, but instantly if the frequency can resonate or lock. So I showed you with the spiral how it locks. One coming down, corkscrew, one coming up, locking in. So I might also note from Helena Blavatsky, telescoping the silver cord. So we've got the silver cord. Helena Blavatsky like to call it silver cord. It's a connection between the astral body and the physical body. Okay, so that's where if we can get influenced in the astral body, it's a direct line straight into the physical. So you go straight into the physical, into the DNA, or into the chakras. You know, it manifests in the physical. So I just wanted to explain that, and there's a lot to do with that. So I'll get into that a little bit more. And I want to show something here. So who's been on WhatsApp? So I've been on WhatsApp a fair bit lately with my friend Dr. Max Rampel. So this is just an idea of how transmission comes through. So you've seen on these WhatsApp, I call it WhatsApp, but it's WhatsApp. So when you see those voice recording messages coming through, you know, they go along the timeline, right? So this is how transmission comes in, right? Telepathic transmission comes in. It comes in. It's like frequency, right? So when it's locked, when I showed you when it's locked, but more horizontal, physical to astral, it's coming in. But it's coming in the same way, right, over time. So, and also, this, while I'm thinking about it, there's something else I wanted to say about the locking. So the brain waves during sleep and dream telepathy can be studied in the Kundalini Research Project. So we can do experiments on dream telepathy, especially for the Kundalini aspirants, and as they get into this project. So what I'm suggesting is to study the gamma wave frequency, or the frequency range of gamma. So gamma is highly associated or correlated with altruistic endeavors. So, and also channeling, right? So what I'm saying with channeling, you open yourself up, right, to bring down. Okay, so we're going to get into that right now. So I'm going to go into a couple of other documents. The Barbara White, who I spoke about last month when I gave that talk on Babaji, we're going to talk about Barbara and some other documents that I've found that I haven't looked at for years. So obviously these documents are going back 30 years when Barbara sent me this information. So I'll read this through and just reflect on what I just told you about the corkscrew, right? So there is a force which accompanies the growth of the new consciousness, and at once it grows with it and helps it to come about and to perfect itself, Kundalini Shakti. It is here, coiled up and asleep in all the centers of our inner being, the chakras, but is also above us, like we're talking about above us, right? What do those altruistic thoughts do? Get into gamma and channeling. But it is also above us, above our head, as the divine force, awake, sentient, potent, extended and wide. It is there waiting for manifestation. And to this force we have to open ourselves. In the mind, it manifests itself as a divine mind force, or a universal mind force, and it can do everything. It can do everything that the personal mind cannot do. It is then the yogic mind force. When it manifests and acts in the vital or in the physical in the same way, it is here apparent as a yogic life force or a yogic body force. It can awaken in all these forms, bursting outwards and upwards, like from Muldar, when you're doing your sadhana and awakes, bursting outwards and upwards, extending itself into wideness from below, or it can descend and become there, a definite power for things. It can pour downwards into the body, working and establishing its reign, extending into wideness from above. Link the lowest in us with the highest above us. Release the individual into a cosmic universality or into absoluteness and transcendence. So that's one important Sri Aurobindo. So Barbara sent me that in '93. And we've shown this document before. This is the one that's, my friend Subrata, physicist, my friend, colleague, Kundalini Research Project colleague, and a Babaji devotee. So he's written up a fantastic report, and I can't wait to publish it. I really need to get these books published. But timing is pretty much right at the moment. I said a number of years ago when people sort of died out with this Kundalini Research Project, I said, you just wait and see what's going to happen in a few years' time. So the years are ticking by. So we'll just wait and see. So I spoke about this in the Babaji talk, this one. Okay, so this is really something I wanted to read. There's one section in this I wanted to read. And where is it? Okay, there's a couple of things there. Supermanhood. This is by Sri Aurobindo. Barbara wrote to me. Supermanhood is not man climbed to his own natural zenith, nor a superior degree of human greatness, knowledge, power, intelligence, will, character, genius, dynamic force, saintliness, love, purity, or perfection. Supermind is something beyond mental man and his limits. Mental man and his limits. So we want to know about a real enlightenment, supermind. So here we go. This is what Barbara's written down here. So these documents are fantastic, and they'll be in my books when I eventually publish them. The universe is a vast hologram, an interference pattern, designed and manifested by the one supreme reality. As such, each element of volume contains all the information of the whole plan. In other words, knowledge, is structured in consciousness. Bentoff, so that's Isaac Bentoff. On planet Earth, the element chosen as the evolutionary spearhead is the human brain. So this is what we want to look at, awakening the brain. Life after life, life between life, we live and learn individually, voluntarily, deliberately, choosing our destiny, free will, supported and guided by Kundalini and or collectively. involuntarily, group and mass media led, and subject sooner or later to her grinding will. Our pattern is still ill lit by the incoherent white light of the material sun. But, oh wonder, the climb to the coherent as the laser, like a laser light, as the laser light of the spirit, the divine solar consciousness is almost completed. A new world is being born. A new species is in the making. Species in the making. This is the enlightened being, right? So that might be something to look at, Max. You might be interested in that. To be by the sunlit path or the hard way. Outwardly, objectively, sequentially, and inwardly, subjectively, intuitive. It's up to you. So this is a letter from Barbara to me, 13th of the 7th, 93. So there's also 3 letters that Barbara wrote me. I'm going to publish some excerpts in my in this book on Kundalini. This book. Where are we? It's a bit of a reflection there. Truth is within Kundalini, Kriya Yoga, and the Kundalini Research Project. So in here, I'm going to publish some of Barbara's letters to me. Pretty private, but you know, they're beautiful letters. So this is a beautiful diagram. So I'll see if I can put that on share. So up here, we've got mental. So up the top here, we've got mental knowledge, physical beauty, vital power, psychic love. The Greek word psyche, soul, and butterfly. Butterfly, the final and perfect stage of the insect, and amigo. 4 transformations of form in one lifetime, i.e. consciousness. The new psychology, soul, psychic being, and supramental being. Supramental being is the final and perfect stage of the vertebrate, an image of God, the divine gnosis. 4 transformations of consciousness in one lifetime form. The dawn of a new science. Example, Kundalini Research Network, Flesherton, Ontario, Canada. So I think Gene Kiefer, you know, there's a couple of organisations up in Canada, and Barbara was corresponding with a number of these in Canada, probably Gene as well, and also in the US. So we've got another Sri Aurobindo quote that Barbara's written in here for me. Man cannot, by his own effort, make himself more than man. The mental being cannot, by his own unaided force, change himself into a supramental spirit, a descent of the divine nature. Can alone divinize the human receptacle. So this is what we are, a receptacle. For the powers of our mind, life, and body are bound by their own limitations, and however high they may rise or however widely expand, they cannot rise above their natural ultimate limits or expand beyond them. But still, mental man can open to what is beyond him and call down a supramental light. Right? So call down the light from above. Truth and power to work in him and do what the mind cannot do. If mind cannot by effort become what is beyond mind, supermind can descend and transform mind into its own substance. Supermind, right? So this is what perfection or enlightenment. So I wanted to share that, and that's some amazing concepts. And I also wanted to talk about um, Autobiography of a Yogi, the best-selling autobiography of all time in especially yoga and Kriya Yoga. Now, the author of that book, the author of the preface of Autobiography of a Yogi was W.Y. Evans Wentz. So he's also the author of this book, Tibetan Yoga and Secret Doctrines. So if you want to know more, I won't go right into the reading about this now because we've been going at 1 hour and 18 minutes already. So, but this is an unreal book. So it's over 100 years old. So that's an amazing book. And if you wanted to learn more about dream telepathy and dream yoga and guru yoga and all that, it's all in this book, which is really fantastic. And if you want to know about Maya and the illusion of the matrix and what we're dealing with, duality, and that's basically all I wanted to talk about. But in next month I'm going to be talking about a couple of downloads that I've had from Babaji, and one a few years ago that I spoke about last year, and another one just about a month ago. And I've got a new formula for advanced astrophysics, which is going to raise a few eyebrows and, hopefully be the next step for yogic science. So if you're talking about yogic science and you want to be the next step of Gopi Krishna's message in what I read out tonight, so science is going to pay, or scientists are going to play a big part in getting this science together of spirituality. So we talk a lot about consciousness these days, and I'm going to reveal a lot in another month. When I talk about this, I'm going to publish it on one day, on the 20th of next month, and also that night I'll do another live stream explaining it. And so that'll be probably it for the scientific part. But while we're here, I want to read out something. I've got to find something that I wrote up an amendment to that protocol that I was reading out. So I've got to open my email just briefly. Here it is. It might be here. No, it's there. I've just got to briefly open up my email. Where is it? Here it is somewhere. I've got two screens open here. Won't be a second, just bear with me. I've got an amendment I wanted to write up for the DNA analysis with, I'll see while it's opening up, I'll see if I can do it by memory. So the part of the protocol which was dealing with DNA analysis, I think it was point 3, as well as the studying the DNA during Kundalini and Kriya Yoga for the participants, each subject, I may as well do it from memory. Each subject participant of the project will submit a sample, a swab of a cheek swab inside their mouth of their DNA during the project to Dr. Max Rampel and the XG1 project. So Dr. Max Rampel, PhD, is a genome research scientist, and the xg1.org, xg1.org, familiarise yourself with that. And I've got a little bit of involvement there trying to help Max, and I'm going to be having more. So during this, we want to get that DNA analysed by Max. So Max is looking for markers, unusual markers in the genome. So which are non-hereditary, so unusual markers. So we'll be submitting the DNA, Max, to your project. So there'll be 108 participants minimum, 108 minimum, 150 maximum originally, Gopi Krishna said. And during the 5 years of the project, so it could be scaled down. The project could be scaled down, 3 years or a little bit less. Who knows? But the DNA analysis is a very important part of it, because I know how scientific it is from my association with yourself. And that's all I wanted to say about that tonight. But I'm really looking forward to concluding this talk on resurrection of the Kundalini Research Project. So if anyone wants to, this is the last talk I plan to do, just talking myself, right? I want to get people involved. So if people want to step up, come forwards, get involved with actually making this happen, because I know from last time I did a lot of the work myself. So and end up doing a lot of it. So to make this happen, if people want this to actually happen, a lot of work, there has to be a lot of collaboration, a lot of work together, and funding. So if funding for something this huge doesn't come from a government, Indian or other government, it has to come from some very wealthy public sector organisation or recipient that's got lots of cash, and will work out all the benefits to society. And if you want to get involved, send me an email with your details. I'm planning on having these webinars once a month for the Kundalini Research Project, which I've called Babaji's Kundalini Research Project. So from now on, I'm going to be calling it not Kundalini Research Project, Babaji's Kundalini Research Project. So I really think that Gopi Krishna was influenced by Babaji, just like I'm being influenced by Babaji. So he talks to me, he talks to my mind, he's given me experiences. I really think that Babaji is the world teacher of a lot of teachers throughout history. I really think he's been influencing Gopi Krishna with the experiences he had. And from now on, I'm naming this Kundalini Research Project Babaji's Kundalini Research Project. And the big focus is on Kundalini, of course, and Kriya Yoga. So I'll be talking monthly also about Kriya Yoga to Kriya Yoga. So there's Kriya Yoga Renaissance. We're trying to get that happening. So we'll be starting that on the 20th of each month, starting next month, and talking to people and talking about Kriya Yoga, the benefits of Kriya Yoga, and also doing this talk on Kundalini, right? So Babaji's Kundalini Research Project once a month, and also Kriya Yoga. So Kriya Yoga is also going to be a big part of this project. And it's also a big part of the theory that I've got for advanced astral physics that I'm going to launch on the same day as the Kriya Yoga talk next month. So that's all I wanted to say tonight. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. Namo Narayan.